This is our new cage. Just a little designed to transport, move them around the yard or move them just around. It's just a fun project to do. We stained, of course, the cage, and I mean, none of them chew on it, so that's great. I mean, as long as you raise your rabbits and teach them and they're around even painted wood, they're really not going to chew on it, including we give them blocks of wood all the time. And plenty of feed, so their mouths stay pretty busy. But the top opens, yeah, I've got a little wire I use to hook onto it, to a little screw right there. It was so small I couldn't see it. And, so I also did this right here. So you can, hold on, if I quit staring at the camera here for a minute. Okay, yeah. Okay, there we go. And then it can stay open and you can, pet the bunnies or whatever. That's my son, he's petting the bunnies. Okay, and down here we went ahead and used some wire, and I really don't like using wire much because, it is uncomfortable if you really think about it. But we always put like a piece of wood in, and then rabbits like to go in the corners usually and do their pooping, peeing, so it still falls through the wire and goes into this tray down here that we have. See, there's some pee spots and poop. So they've already chosen this corner over here. But yeah, I should have not made it so tight. I should have made it a little bit looser with the tray, so I can't get it back in. There we go. I should have made it a little bit looser than making it so tight, but it works. And it's just to put one rabbit really basically in. And don't forget, I know it's kind of small, but we do have an exercise pen, so they don't get cooped up in just a small cage all the time. We like to work our rabbits out and get some good muscle mass going, so we get better meat. Yeah, we made these little boxes for the males too. They're small, so they don't take up too much room, but they love to go in them. He likes to lay in it and just be lazy. Oh boy, this is dinner 1. And there's dinner 2. He's got a little box too, but he more likely likes to jump on top of it and jump off. Like he's getting a little frisky right now. Are you gonna go in your box? No. And of course, yeah, they like to nibble on the cage still here and there, but we made it pretty easy too to remove the bottom. I don't know if you can see. We used some cheap wood. Most of this wood actually we got free. I did forget to mention that. So the only thing we really had to pay for was the wire. And chicken wire isn't very cheap, but if you get a big roll, it gets you a long way. And we did a whole chicken coop and all these cages. Okay, also, if you build cages, something we've learned too, try to tilt them. Don't make flat roofs. That was a little mistake, Some of them we started to pitch them now, but we put a tarp on top, over the top, and it really protects it from leaking or anything. But we plan on down the road later to change that about the cages. But we put a tarp on top of it to protect it, and also I use a lot of landscaping rocks to pretty much keep it up there. And we fold it down, unroll it down, and then we attach to each leg these handy little tarp attachments. We use these and wrap it around the legs, and also I made this little thing right here to stake it to the ground a little bit, just to wrap the tarp and pin it, because right here, this part of the cage doesn't need a tarp over it, so we just have it to right about there that we put it, if you can see it. See, it just helps if we get a hard winter or a rain. to help protect them better. I've got a whole bunch of nesting boxes too. I'm still making some. My husband helps me a lot with that. He's very handy in building. That's all I could say. You know, but I'll show you some of the nesting boxes. Okay, here's one of the nesting boxes. Pretty much we use scrap wood, anything that we had left over. Strong, so they can go on top. And believe it or not, even the little babies at 3 weeks jump on top and off, and they do fine. They don't injure themselves or anything. But sometimes they end up chewing on these parts, which is not bad, but grass, hay, or high gear in there. Sometimes we'll put alfalfa in there just for bedding. And sometimes we have some rabbits that like to poop in them, of course. But we don't like to put a bottom. You know, it makes it a lot easier to clean and lift out. But here's another one. This is the mail boxes that we have pretty much. And, you know, it's just a little shelter. They like to curl up in them. But compared to this box, the mama boxes, to a little box for the males. And I mean, even a big male can fit into one of those. We've got this one for one of the wire cages. It actually has a floor on the bottom. So, you know, the problem I have with this one is everybody likes to poop in it. So we've taken it out. This one is our funny one. Okay, I just used whatever I could find to make this one. And I actually used it and it worked beautifully. I rigged it out of every little piece I could find. You can see the sides, you know, it's all rigged, but it works. Hey, free wood, why not? And it's real strong, so if they go up there, that's great. We made a wider one, kinda, and I've had already one litter in it, and they did all great. It worked out beautifully. These edges, the reason why they're so high is for the babies to stay in. You know, when they're ready, usually about maybe 2 weeks, they'll come crawling out. You know, it all depends. When it's cold, they want to stay in there longer, but I try to motivate them to leave the nest and pick up eating habits and everything from mom. But that's why we put the front like this, to keep the hair and the babies all in there for at least a few weeks. But once they're out of the nest and doing real good and eating and drinking, they don't want to go back in, so we remove them. This is another cage we made just for petting and transporting, you know, around in the yard or in the house. You know, if we have it really cold, we can bring them into the house. I don't have a tray on this one yet, so, you know, the trays went up in price, so I have to wait a little while until I get one, or I might build one, you never know. But this here was really neat. My husband came up with it. I thought it was cute. But you know, it's got wire in the back so you can attach it, and it's a little hay feeder. So you can stuff the hay in here and attach it to a wire cage, and then you won't have the hay fall out so much on the wire. You know, I mean, rabbits still pull a little bit out here and there, but we just thought that would be handy if we use wire on the floors and don't want to lose so much food. And I thought it was a pretty good idea he had, even with the wire he put on here. Oh, some of the rabbits got spooked. My daughter's running around. But it works. I've used it a few times. I haven't attached it because it goes here and there sometimes. But this is the second cage. And it's pretty much the same like the first that I showed you, the one that we stained. This one we don't plan on staining or anything. But if we ever get too many rabbits, we have 2 cages available that we can just throw one in, you know.